Well, I said I'd be doing something a little different and give it a shot, so here's the first video of this series slash test run, I guess. Um, Frankly, it's kind of bothered me for a long time as a Star Wars fan. Well, Legends, because the new canon may do different things and explain itself. Whatever. Let it do its thing. But in Legends, it's always been a question on my part of how dark side corruption works. And Lord knows I'm the only person who asks these types of questions. Uh, okay. So let's just, establish that people who use the dark side, be they Sith or whatever the hell else they're going to call themselves, their skin gets pale. Okay. Sometimes you see, like, veins. They look darker than what I would assume veins would look like, but, again, whatever. Dark side corruption. Supposedly the skin begins to crack and you just begin to rot, but that doesn't really make any sense considering that if your body is rotting, how the hell are you still... You'd be like Darth Sion, except Darth Sion was noted for just being killed a bunch of times and forcing himself back together. So I'm just going to assume that you just look ugly. You're not really incapable of activity. You're not really incapable of doing things. You just look bad. SWTOR would teach you don't have to look bad to be Sith. It's possible, I guess. I mean, if you have good mastery over the dark side, or if you're not fully into it all the time, you don't center yourself or immerse yourself. If you don't immerse yourself in the dark side 24/7, I guess your body would be able to handle the bursts of dark side, I guess, is what I'm going for here. But then we also have the sticking point, which is what this video is about, is that your eye color changes to yellow, or orange, or red, or somewhere in between, or gray even. Sometimes it turns gray, and that makes no sense to me. So, SWTOR would have it explained like this. You're kind of evil, you get yellow eyes. You're pretty evil, you get orange eyes. You're really evil, you get crimson red eyes. Okay, that would work, except there's plenty of Sith who are pretty frickin' evil who don't have red eyes. For instance, we don't have to look any further than Darth Sidious, Emperor Palpatine. It's been explained plenty of times in stories, books, blah, 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 comics, that guy is constantly immersed himself into the dark side. He has constant yellow eyes. We all know how he looks. You don't get that way from being as old as he is. He's not even really that old, and he looks that bad. It's because the corruption has hit him pretty damn hard. Okay, if we're going to go by logic here of SWTOR, it would be red eyes he would have. But he doesn't have red eyes. He has yellow eyes. Now, you could write that off as just saying, well, SWTOR doesn't know what it's talking about, just ignore it. But I can't point him out to you right now. I'm sure if I had more time and less laziness on my part, I could look up a bunch of Sith from comics and, even describe it in books or even video games who have red eyes, but they're not really as evil as Palpatine or even as Darth Vitiate, the Sith Emperor, is, who also has red eyes, usually when you see him take over someone's body. Usually. And even in SWTOR, again, it's not the greatest example, but there are Sith who act a little more, blasé. They're kind of just doing their thing. They're not out to kill everybody or take over the entire universe or whatever, but they have red eyes. Okay, if we're going by your own game's logic, how the hell do they have red eyes, but their skin doesn't even look that bad, and they're kind of happy-go-lucky? It doesn't make any sense. But this translates over to Star Wars as a whole. And then we get to examples like, I think Darth Malak. He might be the only one, unless you count unless you count Exar Kun. But he had naturally gray eyes. Darth Malak, I believe, had blue or something, and then he had silver or gray, but then I think that they kind of retconned it to where he did have yellow eyes in the new edition of the game coming out. but I'm pretty sure that even the Wikipedia entry has him as a gray under Darkseid influence. Where does that come from? I have no idea. It just seems to be the preference of the people writing the story, making the game, whatever. Exarchun had naturally gray eyes, but they never changed color. I like, personally, his gray eyes. I think when every Sith out there has yellow eyes, or red eyes, or orange eyes, it gets kind of boring. I like the variety of color. I do like yellow, orange, or red. I just think that there needs to be a purpose for that. And again, Lord knows I'm the only person who cares about this, but I just wanted to get it out there so other people can tell me what they think, how it works, or why it works, or does it work? I don't know. Okay, Darth Maul. Yellow eyes, but everyone likes to show a close-up of his eyes. There's these red, blotches, almost look like a damn sun around his eyeball. How did that happen? I don't know. Is he just so evil that his eye is tearing itself apart and that's blood? It just looks that way because of evil corruption shit. Same thing with Vader when he's still, pre-Mustafar, when he was on Mustafar, you got a close-up of his eyes. They were yellow. They were rimmed with a red strip, but they weren't like Darth Maul where they were blotchy. It was just growing, I guess. The only real Sith that we could discuss in this matter when it comes to the movies would be Sidious, Maul, Dooku, Vader, and that's about it. Right? Am I missing somebody? No, I'm not missing anybody. Dooku, we know because of Clone Wars he had yellow eyes, but in the movies, they look mostly brown. Sidious, obviously, had glowing yellow eyes. Okay, you're evil. That shows you're evil. I'm fine with it. Whatever. Maul had really messed up eyes. They weren't glowing like Sidious's were. They were just blotchy with red, around the, I don't know what do you call it, the cornea or whatever. Vader, again, you saw it for a couple minutes on Mustafar. But then you never see it again in episode 6 to take his mask off, you see his eyes are normal color. Of course, the yellow eyes thing came into being in episode 6, where you see the Emperor and his eyes are yellow. Obviously, that's not good. You see someone with yellow eyes, you're just going to assume you're either a crappy vampire or evil. Oh, a crappy evil vampire, maybe. So, and then, like I said, books, comics, sometimes people who just became evil Sith suddenly have red eyes, or suddenly have glowing yellow eyes. There's no established linear path for these eye things to take. Darkseid corruption on the rest of the body makes more sense. You get gray, you get a little blotchy, you look a little sunken in maybe, veins start to show, whatever. But then even that doesn't work. Because, Sidious looks pretty bad, and he's been immersed in the dark side for decades. We don't know what the fuck the Sith Emperor looks like, so I'm not even going to go there. But I'm trying to think here of a Sith that was kind of around for a while, but didn't really look that bad by the end of things. I was going to say Lumia, but she is a freaking cyborg, so it doesn't really count. Female version of Vader. Darth Krayt looked pretty bad. He looked bad, but he didn't look awful. Oh, and then when he was reborn magically, he looked great. I mean, his skin was back to its natural color. His hair looked better even. I don't know. I guess he just figured out how to make himself look good again. It's one of the weird things that happened to Krayt when he rebirthed himself. I mean, I could bring some of the one Sith in. Darth Nil, he always looks like that. Darth Talon. She's a Twi'lek in a comic book. Of course she's going to look good. It's for the younger Star Wars people who are just growing into their puberty. I will stand by that. I know some people don't like the way I talk about Darth Talon, but you can't tell me that she's not there just to be eye candy. Cadus, however you want to say, Jason Solo. Jaken. I heard some people call him Jaken. I think it's just Jason. They just replaced the C. Whatever. He has yellow eyes according to the books, and in the pictures we have of him, he still looks pretty damn good. I mean, as far as a guy can say another guy looks good without being that way. He looks decent. Of course he's gonna look decent, because ever since the 90s when he came out, he's been kind of like, him and Anakin Solo were like the teen crushes for the girl fans. So of course they're not gonna make him look suddenly disturbingly ugly. I mean, that's just my take on it. But, you know, if there's a girl watching this video, which I highly doubt, you can correct me. But I've read some shit online, and it's pretty weird. Exar Kun didn't really show any corruption. Well, I mean, okay, we have some pictures where his veins are kind of showing through. So yeah, he was like going down the path, I guess. And then also, as an added what the fuck, you get the Sith species, the Red Sith, the Sith purebloods. They can be evil as hell, and they only really show that they're really evil is that like they get dark under their eyes. So that leads me to believe that their bodies are somehow better equipped to handle the corruption. So you're just genetically predisposed or not to being able to handle evil influence of the Force or evil usage of it. However that works. Again, this is taking a lot of liberties by SWTOR's methodology and SWTOR's logic. And when it comes to SWTOR's logic, it's there, but barely, you know? I'm not gonna go to bat for SWTOR's logic and how things work. Good lord, now that I think about it, it's hard to find Sith that you can really talk about their corrupt. Bane. Darth Bane. He looked... His skin wasn't awful from what we are told, but his eyes were pretty damn yellow. If you expect someone to be immersed in the dark side, it should be fucking Bane. And yet his eyes were only yellow, again, not red, and his skin and body did not look that bad. Of course, I can look past the body, because maybe that just takes decades to happen. But the eyes, I would think that a guy who's as evil as Bane, and let's be honest here, Bane was pretty evil. He was smart, he was ambitious, but he was evil. I hear people try to say he's not evil. The guy's fucking evil. He didn't look that bad. His apprentice, oh my god, I can't, Zana. We're told she looks great. She uses that to her advantage in some situations, which is gross, but whatever. Sith, I guess. And then, like with SWTOR, they try to push on you if you're a male character, like these crazy female Sith who you're obviously supposed to diddle around with, and you're wondering, why are these women, like, not horridly ugly? Oh, okay, you got Darth Zash, but she's supposed to be, like, what, a little over a century or so old? Maybe even older. She's supposed to be really damn old and still alive, and hiding the fact that she's utterly horrid looking because she wants a new body. So that doesn't really count in my book. But, no, it counts. It makes sense, but I mean, she looks like a freaking skeleton. Which again would make sense, but her eyes are yellow. Why aren't they red? If you're, okay, you could say maybe she's just not that evil. Okay, well then that would say that Sidious is not that evil. And again, I don't care what you say, Sidious is a damn evil person. Fucking Palpatine, if you know your extended universe, has done himself and made Vader do some shit. He's evil. If you only go by the movies, which you shouldn't, because that just leaves giant gaps in the universe, then he's done nothing really that terrible except order the execution of the entire Jedi Order, dismantled the democracy, just your normal, everyday space Hitler shit. Well, I mean, the Empire is space Nazis. Anyway, back to the point. Darth Trey. Oh, I don't even need to mention the triumvirate. Nihilus. No one knows what the fuck Nihilus looks like. Everyone seems to agree that Nihilus so consumed himself was so consumed by the dark side that his body is pretty much gone, and what you see standing is just some sort of entity that takes the form of a man and makes these robes stay around his body. That's the consensus from fans who dig deep into what Nihilus is. And that's why people think his body disappears when you kill him, is because he didn't really have a body. He was just kind of some sort of void of nothingness that wanted to look like a man. And you could bring up the evil, I guess, reaction Visas Mar has to him dying, where she says it's just a man's face. But that's not correct. That's not the one that's not the canon ending. She takes off his mask. If you hear noise in the background, it's sprinklers. She takes off his mask, and she sees a vision of Malachor 5. Why would you see a vision upon looking upon the face of a dead body? Some people who dig into it think that she looks upon the void, and like a blast of their, force connection just kind of sends it to her, and she gets the vision where Nihilus knows Treya's going to Malachor 5 after he's learned that he's been played for an idiot by attacking Telos. I don't know why I got into this, but essentially Nihilus is considered so corrupted by consuming that much force energy in life that he is nothing but a walking void. There's no body, there's no blood, just a void that takes the form of a man. Sion, on the other hand, is so messed up from being beaten, killed, beaten, destroyed, broken, that he uses pure and utter hatred, pain. That's the key here. He uses all that pain to force his body to stick together and keep working. People would go, how the hell is he constantly telling the force to pump his heart or keep the blood going? You'd think that he'd basically be zombified at this point, but his body refuses to heal because it's essentially dead. But the force is forcing cells and blood and muscle and tissue to move and, I guess, keep his brain alive. So, he basically is a walking, talking zombie. So you could say the force has really corrupted him or abandoned him, but the fact that you have to convince him to let go for him to die, he is corrupted, obviously. The guy's corrupted. Maybe his body would be able to maybe heal if he wasn't so delved into the dark side, but if he let go of that pain, he'd die. So I don't really know when it comes to him. Treya, another just, what the fuck where did that come from? Her eyes are black when she goes back to being Treya and not Kreia. Her skin gets gray and kind of blotchy. That makes sense. I don't know how she was able to hide it so well, but again, she's a Sith, blah blah blah, deception. Her eyes turn utterly white because I guess she's blind, cataracts, whatever you want to say she has because she's really old. And then they just go black. Okay, how are you going to turn your eyes completely black? That doesn't make any sense to me. It's cool looking. It is cool looking. Makes no sense in the context of the dark side. Are you, Treya, so evil that your eyes turned utterly black? No, Treya, you could argue, is not really that evil of a Sith Lord. Sure, she wants to kill the Force, but she wants to kill the Force because she thinks the Force plays too much of a role in the universe and is constantly why so much evil happens in the galaxy. She wants someone to change things, and Revan was the heart of the Force, the exile was the death of the Force. That's why she said the exile was her greatest student, even over Revan. It's why the exile is actually my more favorite character than Revan. There's deeper meaning there, but I'm not going to get into it. Um, and the Sith Emperor, again, like in the in the books where it talks about his birth or whatever, he was born with black eyes or some stupid crap like that, trying to make him sound like the frickin' Antichrist of Star Wars. Whatever, obviously the black eyes or whatever went away, or is that just his ghost taking over people's bodies and they have yellow eyes because he's corrupting them? And it's like, okay, what happens to the people he takes over? Do their souls just flutter away? I'm not going to talk about the Sith Emperor any more than that. I could bring up the the unnecessary addition to the Sith, which is the Lost Tribe. They really don't make any sense to me because the Lost Tribe are just so vain that you're not really considered a legit Sith Lord amongst their ranks if you look ugly. If you're an ugly Sith Lord, then you're beneath us. But really, if they came into contact with a Sith like Palpatine and said that shit to his face, they'd all be dead because none of them would have the strength to stand up to Palpatine's power. Okay, this is the guy that opens wormholes with a thought. Of course, he can't control them that well after they're opened, but, enough said. You don't need to look good to be a damn powerful Force user or Sith. Obviously, by a bunch of Sith we come into contact later, you don't need to look good. They're anomalies in that we're told a lot of their eyes are yellow, but yet they don't look corrupted enough to be ugly in the sense that their body has been twisted, morphed, whatever. So that leads me to the conclusion that they're only in the dark. They're only like immersing themselves into the dark side when they want to, when they have to. That doesn't make you Sith. That makes you something else. Okay, no, it could make you Sith. You could be a Sith and not be a total jackass, just constantly wanting to kill and hurt and, maim people. You could regulate yourself. But what breaks it for me is this whole idea that you need to look good to be a powerful Sith Lord amongst their ranks, which, beauty or the lack of beauty does not infer power level or strength or even wisdom. So the Lost Tribe is a completely unnecessary arc, and they got pretty much decimated by some ancient Force being called Abeloth, who looks like a damn malformed octopus if you look at the picture description of her on Wikipedia. I don't even want to get into the Force gods. Fuck the Force gods. Clone Wars, Abeloth, I don't care. The Sun, the Sun is like what's supposed to be the embodiment of the dark side, yet he only has yellow eyes, not red, yellow. And red has been established within certain canons, and within even the Clone Wars universe, I believe. I could be wrong. Maul just had really messed up eyes as usual. I don't care. I don't care about Savage Opress. I don't care. I'm just saying, I don't care. Why did I bring this up? It's really just kind of to see what the opinions of others are. I realize maybe I'm talking about something that people will go, why is he even talking about this? Is this really an issue? No, it's not an issue. Just something I thought I could bring up and have other people tell me what they think. What do you think? What don't you think? Am I thinking too hard on this? Probably. Tell me what you think. Video might be boring again. The video is going to be boring because it's just going to be one more picture. I'm getting, a little lazy with just making it one picture, but really, are you guys watching my video to look at pictures you could easily look up online yourselves? Or are you listening to what I have to say because you find me mildly entertaining or have a mild point of mine to listen to? You tell me. If you want to see me put more pictures into my videos and thus take a little longer to upload them, tell me in the comments. If you don't care and you don't really watch the videos, which is fine, you just listen to what I have to say, again, leave that in the comments. I'll see who has the bigger majority here, and on that token, I will either add pictures, or I'll just leave it as kind of a one-picture thing, unless the event calls for it. Like if I do a Sith Lord ramblings, I'll put more than just one picture up. Anyway, tell me what you thought about this rambling. It's not really a rambling, it's a conundrum. Should I continue asking these types of weird questions about the Legends of Star Wars universe? Or should I just do other stuff like, Sith Lord ramblings, faction wars, blah 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 blah? Let me go, and I will see you? No, you all will hear me again next time. Peace.